Hello, I am Brother Kelly Hughes, Chaplain of the Arts. We are broadcasting live to tape from the beautiful Valiant Theatre here in the heart of Winnipeg's greasy Tenderloin. This is Kelly Hughes Live, Slices Fringe Edition. We are broadcasting on 101.5 UMFM every Saturday at 1, normally all throughout Fringe. When Fringe is on, we are also recording this for YouTube, where we live from now until the sun swallows the earth. Thank you so much for stopping by and joining us, and thank you so much to my guests for joining us, Diane, Jorge, and TJ Dawe. How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Great. I'm good. You're very
in red, yes.
Bright and
Yes, the Solovella color officially.
Yeah, we love it. So what I like to do is, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're based, why you exist, and give the elevator pitch for your show.
Fantastic. Diane, Jorge. I exist. I'm from Miami, Florida, originally. That's where I live. And what was the other thing? Why I exist?
Yeah.
I exist to bring smiles and joy into the world. That's why I exist.
Good.
And I am currently doing that through my show, Solovella, an improvised solo telenovela, which is a show where I do a telenovela all by myself. I play all the characters, and it's based on a few questions I ask one audience member. So I ask them a few questions about their life, and I play all the characters. And it's just me talking to myself on stage, doing different voices. My therapist is a big fan of the show.
Well, that's good. That's good. You trade tickets for therapy?
Right.
And can you define telenovela?
Oh, yes. Oh, thank you. Yes. A telenovela is a Latin-style soap opera.
Yeah.
So if you've seen General Hospital or Days of Our Lives.
Jane the Virgin.
Jane the Virgin is kind of an example. Yeah. So, Spanish telenovelas are very melodramatic, suspend disbelief. People fall in love very quickly in timelines. And there's a lot of obstacles and a lot of villains who do not want to see anyone happy. And, it's a good
Basically like life.
Yeah, exactly.
TJ?
Well, one more follow-up question.
Sure.
Yes.
I have heard that telenovelas differ from American soap operas in that American soap operas go on in perpetuity,
Yes.
whereas
Telenovelas
are
end, right. So,
compact amount
so
of
for
time.
example, General Hospital, I think, has been on for 3 generations of people. I think it's the great-great-grandkids of the characters that started the first General Hospital. So telenovelas are usually in between, back in the day, it used to be 100 to 120 episodes, but nowadays they're 60 to 80 episodes. So it's one and done. But sometimes, if it's good enough, they'll have a second season or a third season of something.
And how much time spans in those 120 episodes?
It could be it could go sometimes they'll do cutaways to someone's childhood, or sometimes it'll just be a few years later. They'll do time progressions, which I do on stage too. I'll be 20-something years later, and
So
things
a lot
like that.
can happen because you don't have to do this decades from now.
Right. Exactly.
I like the close-ended thing, because sometimes I'll be watching a show.
Yeah.
Now that you can just binge stuff, and I'll be oh, I'm going to watch all the seasons of this show.
Exactly.
And then I watch the first season, and the second season, and the third season, and the fourth season, and I'm why didn't they end the show the 5th season?
Right.
They should have, because most things really, 100, 120, 150, 200 episodes, you're Lost,
Yeah.
They just start, you're what?
Yeah, I think lost its way.
Yeah, you're stretching it out, and it's very, I was watching, what did I watch? Falling Skies, which I'd never seen, which is Noah Wiley, and it's from 2013, and aliens invade the Earth.
Oh, wow.
And it's what they do. And it was produced by Steven Spielberg, and they did avoid a lot of the for a while, they avoided a lot of the sort of usual tropes.
Yeah.
But then, where they get season 4, they get a new showrunner.
Yeah.
And he's okay, we're gonna do this, and then you're what? But then I'm kind of I like to finish things, so then I'll watch it until the end, but I'm mad. I'm just I'd wanted it to be, end of season 3 would have been great. They could have just stopped it right there.
Yeah.
And that's also the ADHD, because I have to keep watching something.
Yeah.
Because if I stop, then I don't remember anything. I don't remember what the show was, or who did what, or what happened. So these shows now, it takes a year between seasons.
Right.
Oh, the next season is on now, and I'm I don't remember the first one.
But they always prompt you with the recap, and sometimes give away too much.
Right.
Hey, remember last season when we had this conversation about something seemingly random?
Wink, wink.
That's going to come up today.
Well,
Right.
TJ, so you have to do your thing now.
Yeah,
you
He's
do
your
stalling
thing,
because he
yeah.
doesn't want to say why he exists.
Yeah, I'm TJ Dawe. I'm based in Vancouver, BC, and my show is called 80s Commercials, and it's about TV commercials from the 80s. I exist, well, because my parents got
Yeah,
together,
yeah,
but
yeah. Very
but in a
common.
more kind of philosophical way to answer that question is, I suppose I exist to broadcast my truth, to kind
Yeah.
of like see what connections of the dots I have made and share those with the world. And I always appreciate when somebody does that with me. So that's what I attempt to do with other people.
I love that.
Here's the line that I've found that ties together these seemingly disparate things. Sometimes they're in my own life, sometimes they're in the world at large.
I love
Sometimes both.
that.
Yeah. He's a conspiracy theorist, but it's all true. It's not,
Loud
go
red
that
string.
far.
it's not a
Okay.
conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy if it's true. Well, you guys both did very well. Sometimes, like, I've been asking this question, I threw that in after the first couple of interviews. Why do you exist? And like, some people like look like their, heads are going to explode. And
Yeah, because my heart's beating right now.
well, no, it
blood
just kind of,
feeding.
I guess
Yeah.
it's, if you haven't thought about it or you don't have a good answer for it, it's a little bit much. Diane, have you been to Winnipeg?
Never been to Winnipeg. This is maybe the third city I've ever visited in Canada. So,
And how many fringes? What number is this for you?
I'm a Fringe baby. I thought I reached middle age. And I'm like, what's a good midlife crisis? Fringe festivals.
Yeah.
So I did Orlando twice. I just did Montreal. I just did Ottawa, and now I'm here doing Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I won the CAF lottery, so
Nice.
I'm able to. I'll be in Vancouver
cool.
for Fringe. Yeah.
Which other ones?
Also doing Edmonton and Victoria.
Is there a fringe happening right now?
In I think there's one in Hamilton.
Oh,
Yeah,
because
as well.
simultaneous.
Because some people somebody wanted to do an interview, and I was like, this is like last week, and I'm like, well, I can get you on Saturday, and they said, oh no, that's too late because we're leaving on Sunday. And I thought, who's leaving? But some people did like a few shows, and then they went to Hamilton, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know
maybe.
why you would do that. That seems crazy to me, but
This is the bigger festival.
yeah.
Yeah, this is
but
the
I
big
know
one.
I know for a fact it was. I can't remember who it was now. And then the guy who did Elon Muskrat, his shows were only up until Sunday.
Until Sunday, yeah.
Yeah.
How
So
bizarre.
I guess he went there, or I don't know. Maybe he had to go back to work.
Who knows?
Who knows? Did you so you just dropped everything, and you have gone off.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good, great. I'm having a really great time. Just learning so much about, Fringe, and every Fringe works differently, and meeting audiences. This show I've done for about 6 years, but I've done it in like improv and comedy festivals in the
Yeah.
States. So bringing it to Fringe festivals when you're in the midst of all sorts of different shows and art forms. So it's been really cool to, meet different audiences and get, but so far it seems good, like a good perception. So yeah.
What do you think, TJ? Talking to somebody who's like, just first at it, right? What advice? Do you have any advice for Diane? Like,
Yeah. Take care of yourself.
Yes.
It is easy to get overexhausted and overstretched.
Yep.
It's easy to push yourself too far because
Yes.
especially when you're new to the audiences in these festivals. So
Yeah.
unlike me, who's been doing this for a long time,
Right,
you're
right.
not coasting in on a reputation that's established.
Right.
So you got to hit the lineups.
Yep.
You got to sweat it out for reviews. That takes
Yeah.
a lot of stress,
Yeah.
a lot of time, a lot of
Yeah.
energy. So maybe you're already doing this, but what I would recommend to anybody who's in your position is find something that's simply for you,
Yeah.
that's just there because it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Whether it's reading a book or having a drink of something delicious or
Yeah.
spending time with a cat or something like that.
Something- I'm gonna have to find a cat now, please. Winnipeg, send me your cats. Okay, no.
There are cat cafes.
There are
Yeah.
cat cafes, but yeah, no. And actually, that's funny that you say that because I was supposed to interview with you earlier, but then as soon as I got here, because I did a comedy festival right before coming to Winnipeg. My throat had a little bit of a tickle, and then I had a little bit of a cold. I'm better now, but yeah. So yeah, it's definitely like I look at the clock. I'm like, okay, let me go to bed now. Let me,
but that's also like an ADHD thing too, right?
Yeah, I
like
have
you don't
ADHD, yeah.
ever schedule. You're like, I can do this, and you don't schedule any. any time in between, like in case something goes wrong or
Yeah.
in case you need to like take care of yourself. Like my partner like makes me take 2 days off a week, and it makes me mad
Yeah.
because I'm like, well, I could just like I could do
two
this
You
thing.
did
unscheduled
do
days?
stuff. Yeah.
Well, one day where I'm not allowed to work.
Oh.
So one day, like, I'm just not allowed to work.
Yeah.
And then the other day, where, I mean, both days where I'm not allowed to work, but one day where I'm, like, not really supposed to do a bunch of stuff. The other day I can do things, but it's not like a, paid work day. So, because if I was just left to my own devices, I would just kind of do something sort of all the time. And part of that is, like, learning to say no.
Yeah.
So if you never say no, and I used to just say yes to everything. Even
Same.
today, like somebody was texting me, like I move things and I move people and stuff and whatever
Yeah.
for work is what I do. So somebody wanted me to move a shed, a metal shed,
Whoa.
and and I've done it, but this one was a bit bigger, and I was having all these things, and they're sending me all these measurements, and I'm just thinking like. I'm just thinking like I don't want to do this. And I had to be like, in a certain place I couldn't tell them what time I wanted to do it. So I said, you know what? I didn't actually say I didn't want to do it, but I said, if I do it, you're going to have to take this thing completely apart, to
Right.
all the constituent pieces, because everything is too wide, to fit in my truck. I said, if you rented a 15-foot U-Haul, you can break it into 6 pieces, slide it all in, do it yourself. You don't need me. And they
There
were
you go.
like, great, that's what we'll do. And so that was great because I was like, well, solve their problem, and part of it is like, I have to know what's my problem and what's not my problem.
Yeah.
Because I'm the kind of person, I'm a 2. I'm an Enneagram 2. I always want to like fix the things, do the
I don't
things.
know my
help the-
Enneagram yet.
Oh,
I need to.
But you know of it?
I know of it, yeah, but I need to do is there like an online quiz or something?
Right here. He'll tell you right now.
There
Yeah.
are online quizzes,
Yeah.
but the people who make them
Yeah.
will admit that they're about 60 to 70% accurate because you can't ask the test questions. You can't ask follow-up questions. And the test can't ask you more specific. So if they
Okay.
say something like, would you to say that security is important to you, you might reasonably ask back, what exactly
What type of
do you
security?
mean
Yeah.
by security? Do you mean emotional security? Do you mean physical security?
Right.
Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
You might also answer what you think is an honest answer. But let's say you're there with somebody who knows you really well,
Right.
and then they listen to your answer, and then they call bullshit
And
on
they're like,
you.
nope, that's not
because
it.
Yeah.
What you're answering is what you think
Oh.
you want the answer to be, rather than what it actually is.
The tests where you have to sort of evaluate yourself are very difficult. I've been doing some like ADHD and other stuff testing with a psychologist
Yeah.
recently, and so a bunch of it was just stuff he asked me, and then while we were sitting there, I think I did a total of like 8 hours or something crazy for 3 sessions. And
That's a lot for ADHD
yeah,
person.
and some of it was like filling stuff out and whatever. Because I told him like, if I take this home, I won't fill it out. I have to sit here and fill this thing out here.
Wow.
But some
You know what the term for that is?
of
No. It's an ADHD thing. Body doubling.
Body doubling, yep.
right, yeah,
If somebody else is there,
Yeah.
you can do the thing,
Yep.
even if they're not looking over your shoulder.
yeah, and so
Works.
But one of the questions was, does it bother you when people take too long to do things? And I was like, I don't know. I have to think about that. And I thought about it. I guess so. But I mean, it's, when I told my partner, they're just like, yeah, like so you don't really,
Right.
you don't really think of yourself like that. And then since we had that discussion, like every day, I'm like, I wish these people in front of me would move faster. I wish these people that I'm doing this thing with would work faster. But you don't really, it is funny doing that with somebody sitting there that knows you really well.
Yeah.
And they will just, they'll just be like,
No.
what are you talking about?
You literally
You
did
are
that this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're so obvious.
Yeah.
But we always kind of, fool ourselves.
So that's the best way to do an Enneagram test, is shoulder to shoulder with somebody who knows you well and has a good enough relationship with you that they will call you on your self-deception.
Okay.
And to do it with somebody who you can interact with,
Gotcha.
which you by definition can't do with a written test.
Okay.
And there's what is there, 9 types?
There's 9 types, yeah.
And so what do you think, like, what is the advantage of knowing what your type is? Because there's lots of different personality tests and
Yeah.
there's lots of,
The big advantage to me is that, and this is intrinsic to the Enneagram, and by my unscientific survey is done by very few people who are into the Enneagram, is to identify what your shadows are, what your patterns of self-sabotage are. So it's not simply a classification of you are a 2, therefore that means this, and this, as if it's cast in bronze.
Right.
It's more like this is what I get caught up in.
Yeah.
This is my default setting.
Yeah.
So when I'm on autopilot, this is what I do, even when it's not helping.
Yeah.
And the advantage of that is when you become conscious of it, it's that much easier to ideally catch yourself in the act and make a different choice.
Yeah.
To realize, okay, my automatic setting inclines me to do this, but I'm now lucid enough to be aware that if I do that, that actually won't help.
Yeah.
I can do this thing that I normally wouldn't do, and that will help.
Yeah.
Because I'm a human being, I'm not a number.
Yeah.
But it's so easy to go on autopilot. Most of us are on autopilot all the time. That's
Right.
not necessarily a bad thing. Our brains would use way too much energy if
Yeah.
we didn't. But it's exactly that. It's identifying, okay, what parts of my personality are helping me?
Yeah.
And what am I willing to leave behind?
Well, and also, I mean, a lot of that, like, especially when you're talking about therapy and coping mechanisms and all that kind of stuff. I mean, some of those things helped you at certain times.
Exactly.
And then they have outlived their usefulness, and you're not in that
And
position
it's easy
anymore.
to forget that.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget that I'm not 3
Yeah.
or that I'm not 17. Because
Yeah.
some part of me still is.
Yeah, there's some parts where like there's like a little moment right before I go on stage where the little girl's like, "No, not again." I'm like, "We're doing this. We're fine. I've got you." You know, I had a stutter as a kid. I had a speech impediment for a really long time. So the fact that I'm outperforming now, I think 6-year-old me would be like, "What? We're doing that now?" You know. So it's sometimes that little 6-year-old in my head's like, no, please don't make. I'm like, no, we're good. We've got this. We know how to talk now. We're good.
That's good. So you're not like shoving the little Diane down.
I'm just
You're
no.
like,
I'm
hey.
hugging her. I'm like, hey, baby, I've got you. We're okay.
Yeah.
We're okay. We're
that's
good.
good.
Yeah.
I'm like always like I'm very hard on my little Kelly, but one of the things that I actually got from this, I mean the stuff with the psychologist was sort of interminable, and he looked like a Muppet, and it was just not, you know what I mean? It was just kind of what you'd think.
Yeah.
But one of the things was like they ask you so many questions about your childhood and being young and whatever. And I was telling my therapist, I said, like, I feel like what it made me realize was all these things that I did to get by. I realized that was a lot for a kid, you know, to do all these things to to try to fit in, or to try to cope with this or that, or to try to not have anybody see that you were different. Like all these things that instead of sort of resenting myself for being weak and stupid and whatever, like I just kind of got a new appreciation. Like, you know, you're a kid and like you don't know anything, you don't know how to do anything, and yet I figured out how to I found a way to deal with these things, which felt like I was protecting myself from whatever. And so that's hey, good for little Kelly, you know, instead of kind of being, I don't
You can have compassion for that part of you even as you're outgrowing it.
Exactly.
Even as you're understanding, okay, this doesn't serve me, and thank you to that part of me that did what it needed to.
Because
do.
it doesn't really go anywhere. I mean, all that stuff is all,
ingrained,
lives in there.
Yeah, you can just gently take it out of the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Let it be in the passenger seat.
Diane, has anybody from your life and your past, and has anybody come to see you? Any of the people that you can say, hey, look, I don't stutter now?
I had a childhood friend go see a show.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know, I always knew you'd like do stuff on stage. So I was always very outgoing, even with like the speech stuff and things like that. But yeah, I've had like a childhood friend that goes see a show like, oh my God, this is, you know what? I'm actually not surprised. I was always very outgoing, but it's just, it took a while for words to come out.
Yeah.
We're like,
what do your aunties think of the show?
My dad's like, oh, this is very fitting for you. The whole melodramatic show where you do all the talking, that's very fitting. I'm like, thanks, Dad. Love you so much. This is your fault. Bye.
So they like it. They're good.
But yeah, no. My family's really supportive of the show. They love the show. And yeah, it's just like a little tribute to my childhood too, because I grew up watching telenovelas, with my mom and my grandmother, and I worked at TV Network where I actually analyze telenovelas for a living too. So I bring some of that knowledge with me as well to like kind of bring up the tropes and.
Analyze them how?
So for ratings, they'd be on the air. I'd look at their Nielsen ratings in the States. There'd be like a team that does like focus groups. So I try to like tie the information together of like, oh, the focus group is saying this, this is what the numbers are saying, and try to paint the story of like what's happening. So you have to tell writers sometimes, like you have to tell someone why their baby's ugly using data. Which is super fun. The writers be like, no, but my cousin, he loves this show. Yeah, your cousin's not a Nielsen household. So my cousin, he loved the show. He think amazing. I go, oh, your cousin, really? Yeah, great.
Was that like Univision or something?
And the other company, but I won't mention them.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you can Google me, you'll it's not like Bruno. You'll find out what company it is, but I just don't want to give them more attention.
Are you jaded about working in TV too, TJ?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, I don't work in TV.
Never work on TV?
No, but if somebody dangled an opportunity in front of me, I would snatch it. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be in front of a camera, not behind it. No, in front, yes.
I see your name all the time because I'm always looking at the Onion, and it says TJ Dawe like this.
What?
On the Onion. It says that you like the Onion posts, like on
on Facebook. Yeah.
And I'm
a big fan of the Onion.
I'm like, TJ's right. This is pretty funny.
I thought you meant like it was on their website. Like,
No,
I'm like,
no,
they
no,
wrote about you?
No, it just pops up on mine because we're friends. And
well, I've actually studied comedy writing with Scott Dickers, who's their longest running.
Oh yeah. He was.
I'm a big fan of him, and I've learned a lot from working with him.
Yeah.
They it's funny because you can't. Like in Canada, we have no news on Facebook or Instagram.
Oh,
because,
I saw that.
Just whatever reasons, but but you still see stuff like the Onion. Like we get fake news,
satire. No law against that.
But it's like, I mean, it's better than. I mean, sometimes it's just so bang on.
Yeah.
And I laugh and I cry because it's hilarious and also awful.
Yeah.
Especially when we're watching what's going down in the States and whatever.
And I contribute to an Onion knockoff called the Beaverton, which is a Canadian
the Beaverton.
The Beaverton.
Beaverton's pretty good too.
Beaverton's damn good.
Yeah.
And similarly, like quite often tackles current events.
Right.
Like, that's what's going to get the clicks more than anything else. I tend not to write the topical stuff. I tend to write the more slice of life stuff.
Yeah.
Which just had a harder time getting eyeballs.
Yeah.
Right.
But like I love the organization. I love the people.
Well, some of the things like on like the slice of life stuff, like on the I think all those are funny too. Like on the Onion, the other day it was asking coworker to speed story up somehow makes them slow down, something like that. But I love the pictures because they always have these stock photos that are like perfect,
Just bang on.
And there's just some guy and he's like telling this story, and you're just like, oh yeah, I know that guy.
And I genuinely think the Onion is going to be valuable to historians in the future, presuming there are still historians in the future.
Yeah.
Because there's so many stories like that encapsulate essential aspects of modern life that you're not going to find anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because they don't like contribute to the rising action of a movie or anything like that. They're just a moment.
Right.
Well, and I mean, certainly there's lots of stuff like Punch and lots of old, sort of
Satire,
but lots of, from like 100 and plus years ago that are still, when you see them, you're like, oh yeah, that makes this historical thing make sense to me.
Right.
This is what they were thinking. Political cartoons and all that stuff.
Yeah. Because one thing is like the history books, right? And then like the other thing is like, what were people actually saying, and like what was the atmosphere or the mood? What was the vibe?
How do people feel?
Yeah, how do people feel? Yeah.
Which brings me back to a question you asked before, which is what advice would I give to
Me?
a newcomer on the
Yeah.
Fringe circuit? This is something I would give to veterans too, because in my very subjective experience, when somebody's created something and they're putting it out there in the world, they evaluate its value almost exclusively or exclusively
Yeah.
on external factors.
Right.
What did the critics say?
Right.
What are my ticket sales? How much money did I make? Did I
Right.
get a standing ovation?
Yeah.
Did I
Right.
get laughs?
Right.
Almost never does it even occur to somebody to analyze, how do I feel?
Afterwards, yeah.
Or during.
During.
Yeah.
Like, what's my inner experience while I'm on stage doing
Yeah.
this thing that I've created, whether there's 5 people there or 5,000.
Right.
Of like, I have had experiences 4 or 5 people
Yeah.
that were ecstatic.
Yeah.
Where that really threw my brain for a loop of like, I'm losing money doing this.
Right.
But I wouldn't trade this moment for $1 million.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My therapist last week, when we were talking about, being a 2 and whatever, she said that, the 2 is the most, what did she say? That's not exactly what she said, but the most kind of other coded type. And she said that, instead of asking what other people need in any given moment, she said you should just try asking yourself, what do I need? What do I want?
Yeah.
And I've, it was like a week ago, and I've been doing that. I don't know that it's changed anything that I've done, but it's made me ask the question.
Right. That's a good start. Yeah.
And it's even like, because sometimes it's just like, well, this isn't really, this isn't what I want. Whereas, when you're always kind of, sort of ties in with what you're saying, thinking about, how what you're doing is received by the world. You can be, if things aren't going perfectly for whatever reason, you can be very miserable. And on the other hand, like the people who know what they're doing, like the phrase "trust the process."
Yeah.
I think of that, like where you're like, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put this out there. I feel good about it. This is right. My inner whatever is telling me this is right. This is the thing, and then people either love it or they don't. And people might love it, because I think people do. Always looking for approval from other people is not like a super attractive thing.
Yeah.
People that have kind of a quiet confidence and they're doing their own thing that they're very sure of is kind of appealing.
Yeah.
And it may not be like a mass market thing, but I've had, like when I was doing my live talk show, KHL Live, I would have like, I'd have, sometimes I'd have 100 people and it would be kind of,
Right.
and then sometimes I'd have 15 people that were just like super dialed in.
Yeah.
And we would just be having the best time.
Yeah.
And that was like, those people were all, this is another thing we were talking about just on one of the interviews the other day, was like, if you have a small audience, you can't disrespect the audience.
No. They took the time to come see you.
If
Yeah.
there's 5 people, they all paid to be there.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Someone.
a full house isn't super into it.
Yeah, that happens. I think, even if it's 5 people, those 5 people woke up and they're like, you know what? I'm going to take time out of my day. I'm going to shower, put on clothes, take an Uber, walk, and see this person do their thing for 60 or however many minutes. I mean, you influence someone to make a decision to come see you, and that's not, I mean, maybe the volume is not, what some people would want, but like the fact that anyone is like, hey, I want to check this person out. I mean, that's amazing, if you think about it.
And if you're just doing things that you think will make you the most money, you could be doing a lot of things that are not interesting to you.
And you probably aren't going to be in independent theater.
Yeah.
But if you are, and you're right, if that's your mentality of like, if that's the foundation of like, okay, well, what sells? Let's start there.
And people do
Yeah.
that.
As opposed to what's the overlap in the Venn diagram between what sells and what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
But if it's exclusively what sells, then you might succeed, and then it's empty. It's very much like a Twilight Zone episode where you be careful what you wish for.
Were you here
Right.
last year?
No, I haven't been here since 2022.
2022. Yeah, I figured you hadn't been here for a bit, and this is why I didn't contact you until like yesterday, because I thought, oh, TJ's not here, because you haven't been here, and I didn't, nobody brought your name up. Sorry, man. And then I was looking at the program, and I kind of thought like, because you've been doing different things, and you've kind of does it get a bit like you're not ancient, but you're no spring chicken? Does it get even Jem isn't here this year? That's
I know,
amazing.
yeah, Jim rolls.
He's off finding himself again. He's left himself in the Nepal and the Himalayas or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it hard, like to? I mean, is it just kind of hard a slog to do tour around and whatever when you're not 20?
You mean to do Fringe tours?
Yeah.
Or to do other kind of tours?
Fringe tours, like
Well, even when I was 20, there were parts of it that were really difficult for me because even though I do autobiographical one-person shows on stage that are almost all just talking, I'm actually pretty introverted. And on the Fringe, you're staying in somebody else's home, and you're hitting up the lineups, and you have to be nice and receptive to everybody who wants to come up to you and talk to you.
Yep.
And it's almost always somebody saying something nice.
Yeah.
And then there's just playing the social game. Like none of that was ever easy for me. So it's not like I look back on my 20s and just think, oh, God, it was a breeze then. I had everything in the palm of my hand, even though things went really well most of the time.
Yeah.
Like I can't erase just how difficult it was even then. So there are different things that are difficult now because I know myself so much better and I'm much better at taking care of myself. But the opportunity that we have at the Fringe to have complete artistic control is something that, you know who else has that?
Nobody?
Superstars. And
Right.
that's it. At the very, very top
Right.
and at this level.
Right.
And like nowhere else in between.
No, even
And that
like
is not to be undervalued.
even like I heard this interview today, just this little reel on the internet, and it was Ed Harris. And there's a show called Dutton Ranch, and it's one of it's a sequel to Yellowstone. And so it was like some variety reporter was asking him about it, and I've always liked Ed Harris, and I guess he's a little bit old and maybe, or he's older than he was before, and he's a little bit cranky probably because he just went off on how they told him he was going to have a big part, and he was going to be like one of the top 4 characters on this show, and he was very disappointed about. He was very, very frank in this. Like it was usually nobody's usually that. Honest,
usually
right?
it's like the press fed answer.
But he, he's a certain age and he's done a lot of things and he sort of gives no fucks. And I just thought that was like very interesting. But even he, as a person who was, has, headlined movies and whatever in the past, like
incredible career.
Yeah, incredible career, yeah.
Even he like gets into a thing and it's not what they said it was going to be.
Right.
So, and he said when he told them, that he thought that there was going to be more for him to do and whatever, he said they kind of went, and so it's the.
So that's the thing. We have more creative control
than Ed Harris does.
We're not exaggerating saying that.
Yeah.
And I've been working the past few years on shows where a producer originates the show, a producer chooses who's going to be involved, somebody else sets the touring route, everything like that. The difference is with those, I get a set paycheck. I don't have to do any promo. My paycheck is not dependent on ticket sales, anything like that. I'm staying in hotels. Like there's a bunch of pluses for that. But the difference is it's not my creation.
Right.
And I'm not the one on stage. I'm always directing the person, that kind of thing. So it's one of those things of like, that has really helped me appreciate even more what we have here. Which is like, even though I'm not as young as I used to be, even though, it does take more time and energy, or it doesn't take more time, but it takes more energy to be away from home, that kind of thing, or all of that, just to get around, just to schlep around in a city where, like, I haven't been in 4 years, so it's like, oh, the copy shop that I remember being open, not there anymore.
Right.
Got to find a new one. That is counterbalanced by the thrill of being able to do my own thing, my own way on stage.
Yeah.
Did you did you do any other Fringes in those kind of since 2022? You were just off.
I did other Canadian Fringes that summer, but this is the first Fringe of any kind I've done since then.
So
wow.
Why did you take that time off? Just because you were too busy doing the other things that you mentioned?
Yeah. So these are shows in which this is the format. An expert talks about true crime.
Yeah.
And the expert is an expert on true crime and not a performer. They're an expert on true crime. So they might be a criminologist or a psychologist or a cop or somebody like that. So I'm working with them, trying to help shape their expertise into something people will pay to see on stage. And we're doing one-night tours. So it's akin to the touring that a stand-up comedian or a musician would do. So every day is drive, load in, show, hotel. Sometimes a day is nothing but drive. If you have 2 days in the city, that is a luxury. 3 days might happen once in a tour. So I'm happy to have that work. It's thrilling. They're mostly in the U.S.
Yeah.
Some of them are in Canada. One of them is coming to Winnipeg in November. The next one is called The Psychology of Cults.
Okay.
And I'm working with a police officer from Utah who helped bust 2 big cults there.
Oh, wow.
Utah must be full of cults.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. One of them is the FLDS.
you're right.
So by and large, though, these tours are in the U.S. So I'm in places that like Nashville. I was in Nashville literally for the first time in my life a couple months ago for one day.
Yeah.
And cool, it's Nashville. Like it's a legendary city. And it's not like I couldn't envision what Nashville is when it gets mentioned otherwise, but now I've been there.
Yeah.
I've eaten at a restaurant there. I've stayed in a hotel there.
Are you touring
I like
around
that.
with the same, like you've got the same expert? Like how long, you're doing these one,
It's a different expert for every show.
okay, but how long are you, like you're doing these one night things? They're,
A given tour is about 6 weeks or maybe a couple months.
okay. And you're traveling with it the whole time?
Usually,
Are you
yes.
giving them notes like constantly, or are you just
Usually
kind
not.
of there?
Usually after the first week, that's when the notes stop, and that's when the shows settle in. And I'll watch it a few other times after that, or we'll talk. Also, the second half of the show is always a Q&A, and I moderate that.
Oh, okay.
So we're involved in that. There's a lot of discussion that happens in the long drives, but another part of that job is a job I'd never even heard of before, which is called company manager. So I'm driving, I'm doing expense tracking, I'm booking hotels, I'm booking rental cars, that kind of thing, logistics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the
there's a lot of
part,
it.
Yeah, like a road manager.
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting everybody dinner. I'm making sure that our hospitality spread is ready for us at the next venue, that kind of thing.
So, so you had a little break this year, and you decided to come. Is that?
What happened was the tour that I did this spring, when it came time to apply for Fringes, which is in like the late fall and winter,
Yeah.
it wasn't 100% sure this tour was even going to happen.
Right.
So I was like, I think I'll apply to a few Fringes. And I got on this one and Orlando. In Orlando, I produced somebody else's show. Here, I was planning on producing somebody else's show, and that somebody else, I don't know if you remember him, but he's a stand-up comedian from Athens, Georgia. That's where he lives now, Stuart Huff.
Okay.
And he's performed here a couple of times.
Okay.
And he's one of my favorite comedians, like including famous people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
We were working on a show which had to be postponed. So suddenly I had a slot at the planetarium, great venue. Do I remount an old show? Do I give it up? Do I create a new show? I decided to go with option 3, the most labor-intensive option.
Create your own show.
Yeah, brand new
What
show.
show did you produce in Orlando?
Basic Training.
Basic Training. Oh, okay, great. I heard great things about that.
Yeah,
I didn't get
so
to see it when I was there, but yeah.
Khalil Ashante
Yeah.
he's never performed here. He is a black guy from the States, an Army brat, who did a one-man show about his experiences in the U.S. Air Force.
Yeah.
And the day before he left for basic training, his mother just casually mentioned that the father who'd been beating the shit out of him and his brother his whole life was his stepfather. And she insisted that she told him before, and he probably just forgot. So then he leaves home thinking, what the hell do I do with that?
Right.
And do I want to even meet this other biological dad who might be just as bad as the stepdad? What? And then while he's in the Air Force, he auditions for and then gets into their entertainment corps.
Yeah.
So he travels the world with that. And by the end of it, the company pools their money and buys him a flight to Washington, D.C. to meet his biological dad.
Wow.
It's one of my favorite shows. He debuted it in 2004, and he's still doing it. He
So
just
the
did that
answer
one
to
now.
what do I do with this is a Fringe show. That's the answer. to
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. A great place to put your trauma, right, Diane?
Yep, yeah.
It is a good way to process shit. It's
It
a good
is,
way
yeah.
to like just kind of look into what's going on inside me, whether it's my thoughts or my past, my feelings, and let's just put that into something and share that with the world and be witnessed. There's actually a really big healing component to doing that.
Yeah.
It's Fringe is so interesting, and I have a friend who I actually was trying to get to your show this afternoon, and I was waiting for somebody else, and we were like there at 2:31 or 2:32, so we just went and had a gelato.
That's too bad.
But I have another friend who loves you, and he loves Fringe, and he's like, he does not do a single arts related thing all year. You know what I mean? He doesn't go to anything. He doesn't, I think he listens to music. It used to be old country music. You know what I mean? He does not do anything.
Yeah.
But he takes sort of, this time, and he sort of tries to take a couple of days off and will try to go to 20 shows or whatever. And, his taste is, he likes you, but aside from that, his taste is not the same as mine. He likes, anything World War II. He'll go see those because he's an old man. There's always like a few World War II shows
Of course.
kicking around. But there's just so much. There's so much for everybody. It's just you can't even you couldn't even really describe to somebody quickly what kind of thing they might see because
Totally.
everything is different. And so I mean,
All
if you
over
want
the
to
map.
if you want to just laugh and not think about anything, you can go to an improv show. If you want to like.
I'm like, oh,
Sure,
well.
yeah. And I mean, yesterday I interviewed Karen Fecco, who does her show, Who's Going to Push You in Your Wheelchair,
Yeah.
which is about her MS
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. And I talked to her yesterday, and that's super interesting. So yeah, I mean, there's just so much.
It's a smorgasbord.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of different, levels of like. There's some people who like are talking about heavy things. There's some people who are just, it's like for me, like when people come see Solo Bella, I want people to leave in a better mood than they came in. I want people just to kind of like think throughout the day of like a dumb thing I said and just like chuckle to themselves.
Yeah, smiles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine, not having seen your show, it would be difficult for the show to exist without it having some reflection of who you are as a person.
No, yeah, I'm definitely slightly melodramatic. But also it's just I'm very energetic, and this is a good way to like put my energy out. Like I'm moving around, I'm playing multiple characters, so I really get to use that like hyperactive side of myself. That's where the ADHD comes in very handy, and I have I can do this, I'm doing so many things at the same time, and it's so much fun.
Did your parents ever tell you to go run around the block?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Or like, here's the yard, go run.
When were you diagnosed with ADHD, or you're self-diagnosed?
No. So funny enough, I was diagnosed when I was a kid, but my mom, like, I found out I was ADHD as an adult, like 20, in my late 20s.
Yeah.
But as a kid, when I told my mom, she's like, I know, when you were little, I took you to the doctor, and they said you had ADD. I'm like, add what? What are we adding? I don't understand. And then the doctor said that you don't pay attention. And then I look at you and you're like, Diane, are you paying attention? And I said, yes. And I'm like, you see, she know half. So it's literally that's literally what my mom told me. She's like, no, you don't. They did not exist in Cuba. That is not a thing. And I'm like, it is a thing, and I have it.
And it tends to show up somewhat differently in girls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
I have
surprised you
heard-
got diagnosed at all, because
Yeah.
I know so many women who've been diagnosed at like 50.
Well, for me, is because I was like, so school, how some people, you couldn't have ADD, you were bad. I really love school. I love learning. I love reading. I'm a big nerd. Everyone's like, I hate school. I'd be like, yeah, me too. School sucks. But I loved school. I loved learning. So I did very well because it was just something I happened to love doing, right? So then when I got into corporate America and I had to juggle all these multiple things at the same time that I really didn't love doing, I'm like, oh, okay.
It's hard.
Life is hard.
Hard to make yourself do the things you don't like to do. You don't get the hyper focus on everything.
Exactly.
It's only the things that are interesting.
To you. So then I went to a therapist. I was like, I'm depressed. I'm really anxious. And then 2 appointments in, she's like, has anyone ever told you that maybe about ADHD? I'm like, people joke about that. I don't think I have that. She asked me all these questions, and I answered yes to all of them. I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, oh, you should go to a psychiatrist, get some options. So I got an appointment to a psychiatrist. That day I left my job later than I was supposed to. I had a lukewarm coffee that I forgot to drink throughout the day, that someone ran into me. I spilled all over. So I had coffee all over my corporate outfit. I'm getting to the office. My phone died. So I forgot, there's a code you had to punch in to get up, and I'm knocking on the door with like my hair and the coffee stain, and some Cuban old woman's like, oh, you here for the head doctor? Because I guess it was the only office that was open at that time. She lets me in. I go up the steps, and like there was no front desk. There's just a bunch of door bells. It was like Narnia. I was like all these, because like Alice in Wonderland. I didn't know the person's name because my phone died, so I just pressed all of them. So all of them peeped out their like heads out the window, and I'm like, and then the guy's like, oh, you're 15 minutes late. This one's mine. I walk in, and he's like, oh, and have a seat. And then all of a sudden, in the corner of my eye, because this guy had like big windows, someone is towing my car because I did not pay attention to the signs for the towing. And he literally opens the window calmly. It's like one of these old crank windows. He's like, hey, no, that's my patient. Put it down. Put it down. And the guy's like, it's the same thing every week. Put it down. Get a better job. Help people. That's my,
Where is this? Why are all these people?
Miami.
Oh, so that's why all the people in the store are Cuban?
Everyone's Cuban,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So then he closes the window and he's like, okay, let's sit down. So what are you here for? I'm like, an ADHD diagnosis. This guy in the back of the head must have been like, easiest diagnosis I've ever made.
Yeah. I think if you get your car towed and you're 15 minutes late
And
you
have
pushed
coffee all over, yeah.
and you pushed all the buttons even before you sat down, yeah, you're probably a shoo-in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like the setup to a movie
Yeah.
where the protagonist
Yeah.
has ADHD.
Yeah,
Like,
there
you
right?
go.
It's
I
kind
should-
of
I
coming
should
from
write
a
that.
corporate job. Yeah.
I'm gonna write that, yeah.
I'd pay to see that. Like
you go.
$5.99 to rent, not like full. I haven't been in the movie theater, and you ever go to the movie theater, Diane?
Yeah.
When
I
was-
will make you. This movie will make you go to a movie theater.
Okay.
That's it.
When was
I am offended by you not
when
liking
was
my
the
fake
last time you were in the
movie.
movie theater?
I went to go watch the Mandalorian movie.
Yeah.
With my husband.
How long is it?
It was like an hour and almost an hour and a half. I think.
Can you sit there for that long? I'm not.
I can because like movie theaters now to like appeal to like the movie going experience, but they have reclining chairs now.
Okay, then can you stay awake?
I can.
Yeah.
I also, not to be fair, I also had a big cherry Coke icy, so I think that helped.
Yeah. I have trouble. I've been having increasingly I've been having difficulty staying awake, like when I'm not doing anything, when I
Yeah.
stop. And I think part of it is just like, I'm not getting enough sleep, but like when there's no kind of barrage of information, or when
Right.
there's no, when there's just like one thing, and I can't, like driving. If I'm driving, I can't drive for more than an hour. I start falling asleep, which is not great. I don't go anywhere anymore. Last year, there was a mime show with no
Right.
dialogue, and I was falling asleep during the poor guy's show. It was Sunday afternoon, sleepy. We were in this giant theater out at CCFM. It's huge, like 280 seats or whatever. There's 6 people there, and I'm just like trying to like, I'm spending the whole time, I mean, probably he wasn't looking at me, but I didn't really. It wasn't really his fault, but it's just hard for me to like.
Yeah.
And I presume it wasn't always like that?
I mean, I guess not. I mean, I used to like be able to drive from Winnipeg to Calgary and like pick someone up and then come back, because you can do it in 12 and a half hours. If you make one stop for gas, if you go 110 the whole way.
Wow.
But like, literally, like now we camp about an hour.
You're definitely
and
not
15
driving me anywhere, Kelly.
No,
I'm sorry.
I drive all day in the city, but it's like,
Yeah.
if we're out in the, when there's and Manitoba's just all, canola, and it's like, I mean, I was always bored driving through Saskatchewan. So I mean, I have always kind of had that, sort of in me, but now I just can't. Maybe I just need a good night's sleep. I did actually fall asleep at my therapist once. She was like talking to me.
Wow.
Well, she's talking to me like this, and she's talking about whatever, and then I'm like, and I fall asleep, and then I'm like, oh my God. And she was actually sort of trying to get me to fall asleep, because she figured that I needed to kind of, but I was sort of horrified.
I mean, to be fair, she sounds like the Calm app. Like, all right, now close your eyes. Imagine.
Well, just that she's very. I've had a new therapist for about 8 months, and she's really good. And sometimes she's very honest with me too. So it's not.
Yeah.
It took me a long time. It took me like, I've been going to therapists for a long time. It took me a long time to find somebody that sort of
It's like dating.
got
That is
me.
normal. Yeah.
It's like dating.
Well, and I almost gave up. Like
yeah,
I
find
was
the
just.
match.
And
Like-
who could blame you?
I just went to her, and I went to her. I had gone to 3 sessions with this person last fall that, like, just it did not go well at all. There was one time when I I froze up, and then she just sat there and looked at me. And then she was like, okay, well, time's up. And I asked her about it the next time, and she's like, well, the therapist can't do all the work, you know. But like if I freeze up with my current therapist, like she'll say, what did you have for lunch today? How much money's in your bank account?
Right. Just take you out of
How
it.
much when did you last put in gas? Where'd you go? Things that like are activating a different part of my brain.
Right.
And then it kind of brings me back. So
when you freeze up, is it because something's fraught?
it's just because I just get completely overwhelmed, and I'm just, it's because she's asked me something, and I'll just have all these thoughts, and then I just can't. It's just too much, and I just kind of want to, go like this, and my head just feels like it's gonna burst.
Yeah, it's like too much at once. It's like, where do I grab? At least for me,
Yeah.
sometimes when people ask me things, I'm like, there's so many ways, like which way? And then like it's like a analysis paralysis in a way.
Yeah.
Overwhelm.
Yeah, overwhelm, yeah.
Well, I've been reading and listening to podcasts about ADHD, which is very interesting, which is autism and ADHD,
ADHD, yeah.
and how it's not just autism plus ADHD. It's like, a Reese's peanut butter cup,
Yeah.
which you wouldn't call really peanut butter and chocolate. You call it its own thing.
Right.
And so there's a lot of stuff there. It's good to know yourself. It's good
Yeah.
to kind of, you're always helping. Do you still teach Enneagram stuff?
Oh yeah. I co-host a podcast about it called The Enneagram in a Movie, and
Yeah.
I'm working on a book that's an adaptation of it, which is a guide for actors and writers, but can also be used on yourself. So the
Yeah.
idea is to teach the Enneagram using characters from movies and TV shows. What I hope people will do when they get the book, because if somebody wanted to use it simply to be a better screenwriter or a better actor or a better director, that's fine. That is the stated purpose of it.
Yeah.
But what I think can also happen, because each of the 9 chapters on the different types includes a story of like, what's the really unhealthy version of this type? Or what's a story in which somebody goes from unhealthy to healthy? Or the other way around,
Right.
that I can imagine somebody might have a moment, and this is important for anybody looking into the Enneagram on any level. When you find yourself cringing is when you know you found your type. So what I hope is somebody might read the story of the unhealthy version of their type or the downward arc of their type and think like, that hits home and I don't like that. And maybe I would rather be that other character that grows or that
Right.
other character who's the healthy version of that
Yeah.
type. What can I do to become more that than that?
Yeah. Diane,
Yeah.
have you ever had a moment where you've been reading something or watching something or listening to something, and you had a kind of an epiphany like that, like kind of a shock, kind of a moment where things sort of, you realize something and it sort of,
Yeah,
things
sometimes.
started turning around for you?
Yeah, actually, The Artist's Way. So I was reading The Artist's Way, and actually, there's like this rapper Doechii, and she did this. Before her fame, she did this like vlog on YouTube where she did each week, and she was talking about the things that like resonated with her, and sometimes when we're trying to be creative, like when you try too hard, it just doesn't happen, right?
Chasing the game is what you'd say in hockey.
Yeah, like chasing the game, but like it's it's I feel, or like, and also in comedy, how like a lot of people come up with like the same premises, right? I just think like a lot of like creativity is just like it's just out there. It's just you're just I guess a filter for it, or like a vessel. There you go. That's what I was trying to look for. So when I was reading The Artist's Way, and just like, because Solo Vela is like a very easy show for me to do because I'm naturally interested in people. I'm very nosy. I'm very stereotypical Latina that way. I'm very nosy about people. So me asking someone a bunch of questions about their life it's something I would do naturally. I'm just naturally curious about people. And then just doing different voices, and then just running around. Like, Solo Vela is very much a show that relies on my strengths as a performer, which is, again, just like my natural curiosity about people and just like my energy level. But when I was reading The Artist's Way, and just like the way creativity was talked about, and just how, it's just like anyone could be creative. Really, it's just you have to create space for it and not like worry about it. It will come, but it comes when you create space for it. So
When that hit home,
yeah.
had you not been doing that?
No, I think sometimes like I would try too hard. I think a lot of me growing up too, like not realizing I had ADHD, like there's a lot of times if I spend enough time with people, I pick up on the way they speak. And I'll pick up their accents or like things they say.
Code switching?
Code switching because I'm trying to blend in,
Right,
and it's something I've done since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I think I've always tried too hard, and people would tell me, "You're trying too hard. You're trying too hard," instead of just like sitting and just realizing, okay, what are things I actually like doing versus like what are things I think other people like doing. So that's where more and more, like the older I get, I'm just reprogramming myself. Like, you don't have to try to fit in. Like, just be you, because then you're doing all this effort to try to be something you're not, and then you just like
For who?
Exactly.
Yeah. TJ, did you have a come to Jesus moment, and why was it when you took ayahuasca?
You've done ayahuasca?
I have. I did a show about it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I did ayahuasca under the supervision of Dr. Gabor Mate.
Yeah.
So reading his books about how stress and trauma in early life plays out in adulthood in terms of ADHD or addiction or autoimmune disease, a number of things like that, all of that really hit home. And that completely overlapped with my study of the Enneagram. So the big moment for me was when I first read the book, The Wisdom of the Enneagram by Don Riso and Russ Hudson. So I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I didn't want to be slotted into a category. But the friend that got me into it is a really forceful type, and we're lifelong best friends. So he's just like, fuck you, take the test.
Yeah.
And the test in that particular book is quite short, and it's really good. And then you flip to the chapter for the relevant type. I actually tied for two different types. So then you go to that chapter, and then there's a list of 15 first-person statements that you read. And what you're supposed to do is rank your agreement with each statement on a scale of 1 to 5. I didn't get to that part because after the first 4 statements, I looked at my friend and said, I think I might be this type. Like, it nailed me. And all of the resistance that I had to being put in a category just melted in the face of somebody understands me. Somebody has been down this road. Somebody gets it. Other people have struggled with this. There's compassion and curiosity for this.
Well, and I mean, you were here a few years ago doing an Enneagram class workshop, which I was there, and
this is really cool. I really want to learn about.
And
this
I
now.
think to one of the best things for me about that is to realize that the weird things that you do are not wrong and they're not bad. They're part of your personality, and all these other people that are, in this general kind of type, do a version of that same thing because, this, and this. Like, you're bored all the time because, you need new input, you need this, you need that, you need whatever. So to realize, I do think for me, like, I think the internet, one of the things of course, there's lots of problems with the internet, but one of the great things about it is you can learn that there are other people like you. Which when I was growing up, I did not have the internet, and I did not know that there was anybody like me. Because you see this stuff now, and you're like, oh yeah, sure. And we all know all the old tropes about being ADHD, are kind of like, I don't know, like all the old jokes, like, oh look, a squirrel, or whatever. But like the things that I see now that are just like real, like, there's a video where there's a guy doing dishes and he ties himself to his sink because then he wanders off to do something, and then he remembers he's doing dishes, like stuff like that, where you're like so relatable, like that would be a great idea because then I can remember. It doesn't work with everything. You can't tie yourself to everything you're trying to do, but and those things just go, hey, there's like millions of other people out there that are trying to do the same thing, and I'm not stupid and I'm not lazy.
Exactly. A diagnosis is just a way for you to understand yourself better. Like, even like the way, like the rejection sensitivity disorder. Like RSD, like I'm like, oh, because as a kid, like when I would cry when like, you know, when it's I perceived rejection, like when someone didn't like want to like play with me or something, like I would cry. Like my mom would be like, "You call me Llorona, like crybaby," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." It's because like I take sensitivity a little, you know, like even you know anything that's a perceived rejection. So it's like it's good for you. It's a helpful tool to frame certain situations in your life and gain a better understanding and hopefully better like emotional maturity to respond to things. Yeah.
I wish I was Joe Rogan because we could sit here for 3 hours.
I know, I
and
know.
We're
Oh my
up at our
gosh.
we're up at
at
our
an
time
hour.
slot. But TJ, is there anything that you'd like to see while you're here? You haven't been to a Fringe in a bit. Is there anybody who's doing anything?
Yeah, there's a guy, a local, Tim Hogue, who
Yeah.
was a super fringer for a very long time, still is.
Yeah.
You know, he sees everything.
Yeah. Do I have
And he's doing his first show this
Yeah.
year, and it's called Paper Fathers.
Yeah, I had him on. He was very thoughtful guy. I've never met
Yeah,
him.
and he's an Enneagram 8,
Okay.
which is the challenger, which is tough, assertive,
Yeah.
very stereotypically dude-like,
Yeah.
and can easily go into toxicity in
Yeah.
terms of like being hyper-aggressive, being hyper-controlling,
Yeah.
whereas his show is just the reverse.
Yeah.
This is the tough guy saying, here's my sensitivity.
Yeah.
Here's what I care about.
Yeah.
Here's what I love. And let's look at specifically toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited
Yeah.
to see it.
Diane, anything you want to see while you're here?
80s commercial at Venue 9.
Yeah, nice.
And
Yeah.
provide, you did not say solo vela.
I've heard that's good.
Yes,
yeah.
it's assumed.
It's okay,
It's
it's
assumed
okay.
that you're going to go see the show of the
Yeah.
person next.
No,
We
no,
don't.
no. I also want to see Middle Child. They were at Montreal Fringe as well, and I want to. I've met the cast and they're fantastic. I've hung out with them, but I have yet
Yeah.
to see their show. So I'm hoping I get to go over to PT and catch that show as well.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you so much for stopping by here.
Thank
been a
you for
pleasure.
I
having
think
me.
I think we had a good time.
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
Thank you so much for stopping by. I have got one more bank of interviews coming up, which we're going to record tomorrow. That is Patrick Herkamp and Tamara Lynn. Is it Robert? I think she's French, and you know her. I think she's from Quebec.
Yeah.
Is it French? Is it Robert?
I couldn't tell you.
Oh, Robert, and maybe somebody else. So thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Thank you so much to my guests, Diane, Jorge, TJ Dawe, Fringe celebrity TJ Dawe. Have you heard that term? That was Adam Bailey said it the other day.
Probably,
Did he
yeah.
make that up?
I don't know.
I've heard it. I've heard it before
Yeah.
with I guess around Orlando.
It's going
Fringe.
around.
Yeah.
It's going around. So thank you so much to my guests, and thank you for tuning in. Go see a Fringe show. Art will save us all. Peace.